Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're talking about books. I got a brand new book here and I'm very excited about it, and I just want to have a little discussion about it. Not this specific book, I'll talk about that a little later, but just books in general. I feel like every generation dislikes books more and more, or doesn't appreciate a book as much as older generations. And there's a reason for it. If you go back in time, a book, right, a storybook, let's say specifically, was entertainment. People read because it was entertaining. It was a story that needed to be told or wanted to be told, and you read it and you envisioned it, and it was exciting and wonderful, right? Now let's skip ahead to when I'm growing up. When I'm growing up, books are still very much popular. There's libraries everywhere. You know, people go take books out and they read them. It's fun. But, you know, as I'm growing up a little bit, the internet started, you know, popping up in everyone's homes and became a thing that everyone now has a computer. And you know, why would you read a book when you can just hop online and read, you know? And then, of course, all the different game systems. And we've advanced so much technologically, it's hard because you want to say, like, hey, kids today are lazy. They don't want to read. Well, I don't necessarily think they're lazy. Well, some of them are definitely lazy. But I just think as a whole, why would you choose a book as a form of entertainment when you have all these amazing things to entertain yourself with, right? Technology is pretty amazing if you think about it. So the book, it just kind of fell to the side. It's not really the preferred way to entertain ourselves. Now, education, the same thing could be said. You can learn a lot. You can educate yourself a lot through books and physical print. But you can also learn just as much or more watching a YouTube video. You can learn just as much or more watching a documentary, you know, or whatever. So there's different forms of education and information, and books really just aren't it anymore. You know, it could be sad to some people, but everything changes. With enough time, and this is the truest thing you'll ever hear in your whole life. With enough time, everything changes. That's something that's just true. It's the truest statement. It's permanent, right? So anyway, I like books, but I don't like storybooks. I've read plenty of storybooks in my time. My grandfather on my father's side, he was a postmaster for most of his adult life, many, many years. And when he retired and moved up in the middle of nowhere, he just read. That's it. He watched TV occasionally, but he had tons and tons and tons of books. Every time we got together, went to some kind of fair or something like that, he was buying old storybooks. And he loved history. He very much focused on wars, the Civil War, World War II, the Korean War, which he served in, by the way. Both my grandfathers served in the Korean War. My grandfather I'm talking about now was a tanker. And my other grandfather on my mother's side, who had one eye from an accident, which maybe I'll talk about in the future. He was a sniper as well as a, what was it, a medic? Oh, I forget the other thing. No, a psychologist. He was a psychologist in the Army. So pretty interesting people. I will maybe make a storytime video about all my grandparents because they're all gone, and they've been gone for a long time now. But the reason I bring it up is because my grandfather on my mother's side just read and read and read and read and read. His whole house was just bookshelves and books and books and books and books. And it was amazing. And I always looked up to him because I thought, like, yeah, if you read a lot, you're smart. That's just kind of how I grew up. That's the people who read a lot are generally smarter people. There's not a whole lot of dumb people who just read books all the time. You know what I'm saying? Even if, because one has nothing to do with the other. You could read every day of your life and not be that smart. You could just be reading romance novels or just reading like Goosebumps. You know what I mean? It's not going to make you smart. But yeah, the guy loved to read, and I love books. I have an appreciation for books, but hobby-based books. I like to learn about hobbies I'm interested in, right? So I have a brand new hobby. That means a brand new book on it because I want to learn about it. And if you guys didn't see previous videos, I now really enjoy cast iron banks, mechanical banks, right? Or penny banks as they're called. So this book is kind of a twofer because the book itself is somewhat rare and collectible. It's just like some of my coin books are actually collectible and rare. So I'm not only just collecting books as a collectible, but I'm getting the information from the books for my other collections, which is cool. It's, like I said, 2 for 1. So this is the bank book. This is a $50 book because, you know, how many books do you think are there on the subject of mechanical banks? Not a whole lot. If you look at the inside of this one, check this out. We have copyright 1984, which I am too. I was born in 1984. So anyway, this goes in. I'm not going to bore you with all the stuff because I know not everyone's into it, but this just goes over so many, especially the most popular and common mechanical banks and metal banks of like the 20s and 30s, specific designs and stuff. The one thing that's a little unfortunate is obviously because of the times, we have a lot of very, racist themes, right? That's just how it is. It was a product of the times. You know what I mean? This is part of history. You can't erase history. But besides the, racist stuff that's in here, there's a lot of interesting things. Just so many cool designs. Like this. This is one I was talking about. I love this style. We have a hunter, and he's hunting this lion that's on this like rock or whatever, and the coin actually shoots, off of the gun. What's really, really common and popular are like a face and a hand. So like the clown, which I'm sure we'll get to here. And this, by the way, this breaks this up too, like different parts of the world. American banks at the time, European banks. It's just super, super interesting. And I only scratched the surface. I actually like reading everything, not just looking at the pictures. But here's another cool one too. The bison, he flips over. Let's see, where we got a clown. Like I said, they're one of the more common ones. I think there's one on the cover. But anyway, let's see, let's look at the cover. Yeah. Well, no, that's not the one I want to show you. By the way, there's the one that I have, even though the one I got is a reproduction. There's Uncle Sam. All right. Hang on a second. Not sure if I'll edit this or not, but I know we're going to find the page. Like, all right, here's a good example of it. These aren't the clowns, but it's literally the same style. Let me find a clown, though. Because now I'm talking about it. You got to see it, right? Otherwise, you're going to think I'm full of it. Jeff, man, there's a clown. Oh, there's a clown. All right, so here's one of the more common designs. And you'll find these painted, unpainted, all kinds of conditions. But it's really simple. He has his hand out like this, and you put the coin in the hand. The mouth opens, and the eyes kind of roll back, which is super creepy because it's an old clown. And he eats the money. That's it. The coin goes inside the mouth, and that's how it's stored. That's like one of the most common ones. I've actually seen these. Here's a different version of it. I think. Kind of looks like a clown anyway. There's just so many cool options here. Here's another clown. I think this guy rolls. He actually rolls back. Does a little trick. The Bulldog. So I've seen this online too, doing some research. Cool little Bulldog that eats the coin as well. I don't know why I can't find the very specific one I wanted to show you guys. There we go. Here it is. This guy. This guy's very common. Right? You just see that a lot. And it's super creepy too. It reminds me of, what's the, oh geez. No, I'm not going to remember. It's a more recent clown that's creepy. It's got the black lips and stuff. I'm sure you'll read in the comment section. I can't think of his name right now, but just reminds me of that dude. So anyway, the whole point is that I am enjoying a new hobby. I want to learn about it more. I want to reference books. So if I find banks, I can kind of look and get some information, maybe where it came from, maybe how old it is, that kind of thing. And so it's just a very cool reference. Now this information is online, but the problem is that it's scattered all over the place. And like, for example, I don't know if you guys, not all of you, of course, and probably a small fraction, but there's a guy on YouTube, his name is Spyderco. And I like watching his videos. I like a lot of stuff that he does. But one of my favorite things, he goes to a coin shop by him in Florida, and he talks to Guy. His name is Guy. And he owns a coin shop, and those videos are wonderful. He's a wealth of information. And even he talks about coin books. You can get the information online, but you can't just search things very easily. Having, information from 700 different websites all in one section about a very specific thing is really convenient. Having to research stuff, it could take you hours or days to find the information you can just flip open a book and find quickly. So, especially rarer books, when it comes to coin stuff, there's thousands and thousands of books on very specific types of coin collecting and stuff. And those are very valuable for that reason. That information is compiled. And a lot of times this information is not pushed on. Like, I don't know, I didn't search yet, but how many websites are dedicated to this type of hobby, this type of collecting. I mean, maybe there's information in here you can't get online. It's only in print. It's hard to imagine that, but not everything is on the internet. So if you're in a specific type of collecting, you might have to rely on print. You might have to rely on some old magazines or catalogs or books to get the information you're looking for, because you just can't search it. Just no one shared it. Remember, the internet is a bunch of crap that people purposely shared, but we didn't share everything. So not everything's on the internet, despite what you might think. So it's fascinating, right? But yeah, just want to share with you guys. I want to see, how many people, if you want to comment. Do you collect books? And if you do, what kind of books? Do you like story books? Do you like collectible type books? Do you like hobby books like myself? I love to know. So, feel free to share it in the comment section. But that's all. And also, I'm very curious, does anyone read for fun? I just don't. I know, a handful of people in my life who do still read for fun. A couple of people on YouTube as well who just, I know they're always reading books, which is awesome. I think that's really cool. I don't have time for it. But even if I had time, I probably wouldn't want to prioritize it on reading stories for entertainment. I love watching documentaries and stuff. So yeah, if you had like unsolved mysteries, let's say in book form, that would be exciting for me to read. It's interesting. I'd probably much prefer nonfiction. If I want to see a fictional story, I'd rather sit and watch a movie and be presented to me in a movie format than a book. Although I will say there's something to be said about reading a story, because you imagine things your own way. What a character looks like, sounds like, how they act, what their personality is like. That is completely all made up in your mind, reading that book. And so it is interesting when you have books that become movies, and some people like the book more or they like the movie more. So yeah, just an interesting topic. But anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow with another video. Take care.